Contemplations before chanting. The Sangha is invited to come back to our breathing, so our collective energy of mindfulness will bring us together as an organism, flowing as a river, with no more separation. Let the whole Sangha breathe as one body, chant as one body, listen as one body, transcending the boundaries of a delusive self, liberating us from the superiority complex, the inferiority complex, and the equality complex.
Come closer. Can we turn it up a little bit? Invite all the children and teens. Okay, first we're going to sit. Oh. Maybe come over here. Come over here. We're going to look this way. Can you? We're going to look this way, okay? Unless you have a presentation you'd like to make. No? Okay. All right, we're going to sit and enjoy three sounds of the bell. Okay, what do we do with three sounds of the bell? We breathe. We breathe in and out? Yeah, right. We can sit beautifully, relaxed, calm, enjoy the sun, enjoy being here with this big, beautiful community. And come back to our breathing. All we need to do is just be aware of our breath. Okay. Have any of you ever seen a skunk?
Yes.
Oh, yes. Can you raise your hand? You've seen a skunk. Where did you see a skunk?
My cousin got sprayed one by one because of my cousin's dog.
Your cousin got sprayed by one because of your cousin's dog. Wow.
And once my mom saw a few just walking across the street.
And once your mom saw one walking across the street.
Luckily we were
Wow.
in the car though.
Yeah.
I don't really remember this because it was like when I was young, really young. But I remember in this area on City Island that there was a skunk near my house, and I think they did spray us. I'm not sure because it's still walking around.
Okay. So, many of you, maybe you've never seen a skunk,
Or we've heard.
but you've heard of it, or you've smelled it. Exactly.
Once I've smelled it.
And is it nice to smell a skunk? No. How many of you out there have smelled a skunk before? Wow, oh my gosh. And how many of you have seen a skunk? Oh, also many. How many of you have seen a skunk from this far away? Yeah? Really? It was not a pleasant moment, okay. Present moment, unpleasant moment. Well, I'm going to tell a story about a young man. Okay, I'm going to tell a story about a young man who wanted to become a monk, and a skunk, and a Zen master. Do you know what a Zen master is? Why does he want to be a skunk?
He gets spray all his enemies.
No, he wants to be a monk, not a skunk.
You said skunk.
Yeah.
You said monk, skunk, and
Yeah.
then
Right, so it's a young man.
So the guy who wanted to become a monk got sprayed in the face by the skunk.
You know the story already. No, it's not exactly like that. Okay. So it's a young, so can we listen? So there's a young man who wants to become a monk. And a skunk. And a Zen master. Do you know what a Zen master is?
Yeah. You said monk skunk. You said.
Yeah, I did.
I want to be a monk and a skunk and a Zen master.
No, he just wants to be a monk, just a humble monk.
But you said.
He's not at all interested in being a skunk.
You said monk, skunks, and Zen. Why skunk? Why skunk? Why would want to be smelly?
Okay. Well, you'll find out if you hear the story. Okay, so one day there was this young man who wanted to become a monk, and he had only $100 left in his pocket. And actually, that was not very much money to live by. And he decided that he wanted so much to become a monk that he was going to use that $100 and go to a retreat at a monastery. Because you know what they had at the monastery?
Monks.
They had monks, right, exactly. And he wanted to become a monk, right? So he used that last $100. All he had left was a few coins. He used that $100 to spend 3 days at the monastery.
Oh, 3 days.
Yeah, I know. It was an expensive monastery.
Not as expensive as this one.
It's not. It's more expensive than this one. Yeah, that's true. So he used the last little bit of money he had to go to the monastery and to be with the monks and to practice sitting very serious like this. Can you sit very serious? And he had a lot of pain in his legs. He sat for hours and hours. Can you sit for hours and hours? No, I know you can't. Okay.
I sat for 1 hour.
Well, you sat for 1 hour.
Yeah, not pleasant.
It was not pleasant. So he sat, and his back hurt, and his legs hurt, and his knees hurt, and he suffered. But he kept sitting because he thought this is how you become a Buddha or a Zen master. He had that idea.
Zen master.
Isn't that a funny idea?
Yeah.
You sit there in a lot of pain, suffering, and then you become a Buddha. Do you think that makes sense?
No.
Okay, you guys understand more than most of us. So he sat there in a lot of pain, breathing in and out. Oh, my knees hurt. Oh, my back. No, I will not stand up. I will not stand up. Breathing in. I know. This is a wonderful moment. Breathing out. I smile to life. This young man had very funny ideas. No kidding, right? So he sat, but he knew that a great Zen master was coming to the monastery that weekend. Yeah. Actually, I now remember that young man. I don't know who that young man was, but he actually came for the first part of the week, and on the weekend, the Zen master was going to come, and he secretly hoped, beyond hope, that he would get a chance to see the Zen master. But do you think he wanted to see a skunk? No.
Was the Zen master a skunk?
Was the Zen master a skunk? That's a good question. Keep that question. So he was sitting in pain and suffering and
Waiting for the Zen master.
waiting for the Zen master to come, or enlightenment, or whichever came first.
Skunk. Or skunk.
And then he had to leave on Friday, and the Zen master still hadn't arrived. But what could he do? And so he pleaded. He said, "Please, let me stay. Let me stay." But he didn't say that he knew that a famous, important Zen master was coming. And they said, "No, you cannot stay for this weekend, because we have many guests who are arriving." And the young man, do you know what he felt?
Sad.
A little bit sad, yeah. He felt a little bit sad. So after all that pain and suffering, he was not totally enlightened. He was a little bit sad. He didn't know yet you can be enlightened and still a little bit sad. But at that time he thought, I'm sad, I'm not going to be able to see the Zen master.
And along came the skunk.
And along came the skunk. Well, it wasn't exactly like that. So then they dropped him off in a nearby town, big town, with a big canal that runs through it. You know what a canal is?
Yeah.
Yeah, what is it? What's in a canal?
Water.
Water, exactly.
It's kind of like a
And it helps the boats to go through. Yeah. So they were very kind, and they said, we cannot let you stay because, they didn't say because the great Zen master is coming, because they didn't want to hurt my feelings. But they said that many guests were arriving. Yeah.
Wait, you were the man?
No, but somebody in this room. Who is it? Okay, maybe it was me.
Which boy was it? Which one was it?
So then that young man, he had only a few quarters in his pocket, not enough to even buy a yogurt cone ice cream.
Why can afford a lemonade or some mint? Not even invented.
And he really wanted a yogurt cone ice cream.
Yummy.
So he walked, and luckily he'd had a big breakfast that morning, and he walked, and he walked, and he walked.
And came across the skunk.
Yummy.
Did you hear this story already?
No. I was just guessing. Oh, sorry, tell me.
And he walked a long, long way, and it started to get dark.
Yummy.
And he had a backpack on, and he had a long beard.
She thinks skunks are yummy.
Thinks- yeah.
I think ice cream is yummy. Say yummy. He's talking about a skunk. They're both talking about skunk.
Okay,
You're talking about yummy.
we're getting to the skunk, okay?
Let's hear the story.
So the young man walked, and he walked, and he walked out of the town. And it started to get dark, and he saw lots of cars and strange people with speaking strange languages. But he kept walking, and he started to have a little bit of some kind of feeling in his heart. What do you think?
Hunger.
Hunger, yes, that's right. He was a little bit hungry. What else did he feel as it started to get dark in a place he'd never been in before? What?
Scared.
A little bit scared. Yeah, a little bit scared. Hungry, tired.
And sad.
Yeah.
And scared.
No Zen master, darkness. And where am I going to sleep tonight? And then he found a little bit of woods, a little park, just outside of the town.
And the skunk was in the wood, in the park.
Maybe I shouldn't have told you about the skunk yet. So then he found a little secluded place in the forest. And he lay down. He had a sleeping bag. He put out his sleeping bag and he lay down. And he looked up through the trees at the stars. And he thought, wow, what a beautiful night. Maybe tomorrow I will meet the great Zen master. And thinking those thoughts, the young man fell asleep. Right there on the ground. Have you ever slept on the ground before? You have. It was not pleasant. You slept on the ground today. Were you in a tent last night? Yeah, all right. Give me 5. Yeah. Was anyone else in a tent last night? All right, good job. I love to sleep on the ground.
She wasn't last night.
And then he had many strange dreams. And in one of his dreams, there was a furry face.
Skunk.
It had like a cat. It had whiskers coming out of the nose. But it was very black in the face, and it had a longer snout than a cat. And then suddenly the young man realized he wasn't dreaming anymore. You told me.
He's not dreaming.
Yeah. He wasn't dreaming anymore. And he looked up and he saw he was looking at a furry face looking down at him. And he realized he was not dreaming anymore.
And then it was a skunk.
And then, skunk.
Mommy.
The word, even before the word, it shot through his nervous system. And he jumped up, wow, like that. And he jumped away, very far away. This, before even thinking anything. And he looked on the ground, and what did he see? Skunk. He saw a beautiful black and white skunk. And do you think that the skunk was scared?
Yes.
I think so. He was a little bit scared.
And what skunks do when they're scared?
They spray.
And what happened to the young man's heart? Was the young man's heart beating quickly?
Yes.
Yeah, why was it beating quickly?
Because he's scared.
Because he was scared.
Because he's gonna get sprayed and be smelled. And he's hungry.
And do you think he had to think very much before he jumped up like that? No, maybe he didn't have to think at all. He didn't think anything at all.
If you see a skunk,
And the skunk was very peaceful. It walked, kind of looked at the men, and then it just kind of walked away quietly off into the forest.
A real skunk would spray you as soon as you throw
That's not what a real skunk would do. A real skunk would spray me. Well, this is a real skunk. And this real skunk, it didn't spray. It didn't spray.
Probably was too tired.
Probably it was too tired.
Or probably it was like, hello, human, I'm not afraid of you. And that's just like...
Have any of you ever felt fear before, like that?
Yes.
What happened?
When I was going down a roller coaster with my cousins.
When you were going down a roller coaster. Yeah, that's very scary. What other kinds of things bring up fear? Yeah?
Getting attacked by crabs.
Getting attacked by crabs. Wow. That's pretty scary. Yeah? What else?
Accidentally locking yourself out of a house.
Accidentally locking yourself out of a house. Who has done that before? Yeah, that's pretty scary. Well, today we're going to do a little practice.
When you're in the room. It's like that when you're in a room and it's someone's got locked.
Your mom got locked out of the house. Have any of you seen something like this before?
A bag? It's
A bag. It's a bag. Do you know what's inside the bag?
Rocks.
How do you know there are rocks in there?
Because it looks round.
Because it looks round.
I know because I was curious last time.
Has anybody practiced pebble meditation before?
What's
Yeah?
a pebble? My mom has a book for it. The pebbles.
Okay, we're going to listen a little bit. You know that I can hear you, but not everybody can hear you. So,
I told you, rocks.
right, we've got 3 rocks. These are pebbles. They're large pebbles so that everybody can see them. Question.
Pebble meditating. Do the pebbles meditate or do you meditate with the pebbles?
The question is, with pebble meditation, do the pebbles meditate or do you meditate with the pebbles? It's a very good question. That's what we're going to find out very soon.
But that makes no sense.
Okay, we're all going to pretend that we have 4 pebbles. Okay? Yeah.
You have 4 pebbles.
We do have 4 right here.
Pretending that you have.
And we sit up beautifully, like we're a Buddha. We don't have to be like that young man trying to force himself to be awakened, right? But we can just relax and we can sit up beautifully.
Are the bubbles meditating now?
And we practice to be a little bit quiet. Okay. And then we can take our right hand and reach down and we pick up one of the pebbles. Yeah? Yes. We pretend we have a pebble. If you'd like to join us, you're welcome. So we have the pebble in our right hand. Yeah? We hold it in our palm. And does anyone know what the first pebble is? No? Does anyone remember?
Buddhas.
So the first pebble represents a flower. Is it beautiful to see a flower?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful flower. And
Yeah.
that's
And a flower represents
flower. That's not a beautiful flower. That's not a flower even.
It's a pebble, but it's our flower pebble. And when we hold this pebble, we touch the quality of freshness. It's like when we have a fresh peach or a fresh apple, just picked, washed. Would we like to eat it?
Yeah.
We'd love to eat it. Yeah, it's so fresh and alive in our stomach, right? Yeah. And when we see a flower that's just bloomed in the morning like that, then we touch that freshness in ourselves, that beauty of the flower. We don't know how long it will last, but in that moment, there it is, fresh, beautiful. And so we practice to cultivate that freshness with a flower pebble. Okay, so can you sit beautifully with your hands in your lap? And we're going to breathe in and out and listen to a sound of the bell. Okay? You might like to close your eyes, and then breathing in, I see myself as a flower. Breathing out, I feel fresh as a flower. In, flower. Out, fresh. Look at all the flowers. You know, our face is like a flower when we're in the present moment, when we're really there. For our friends, when they have something to tell us, or for our parents, when they come home from work. Have you ever seen your mom or dad come home from work with a grumpy face?
Yes.
Yes.
Many times.
Many, many times.
My mom's always
Okay.
happy when she comes home from work.
Your mom's always happy when she comes home. She's happy to see you. Oh, your mom doesn't, well, how can she come home with a grumpy face if she doesn't go to work?
Because she goes to the grocery store.
Ah, she goes to the grocery store. Okay.
Takes care of us.
Well, you know that the best gift that you can give your mama and dad when they come home from work, it's your freshness. To be fresh like a flower. To be really present.
So when my mom comes home, I'm always coated in mud.
Yeah.
Because I like making mud houses.
Okay, can we listen a little bit? Okay. So when we come home and we're fresh like a flower like that, then we really bring joy to our mom or our dad. Say, hi mom, hi dad. That's all we need to do. Just be fresh and present for our parents like a flower. And we offer them the greatest gift. There's nothing we can buy in a store that is great as that gift we can offer them. And the flower pebble that allows us to practice being fresh. Okay? All right, thank you. So now we can take with our left hand the flower pebble and we put it on our left side. And then we take the next pebble, the mountain. This is the pebble that represents the solidity of a mountain. When we are solid like a mountain, can the wind blow us down? No. When we're solid like a mountain, we just stand stably, at ease, calm. No matter, even if we have a great thunderstorm, a hurricane that comes, does the mountain get blown away?
Actually,
Mountains do erode, but very slowly.
No, it means
there are avalanches.
Yeah.
slowly.
And sometimes, right, eroding is a slow wearing away of the rock on the mountain. But the mountain stays there solid for a long, long time, even in the greatest hurricane. So when we have a strong emotion like fear, we wake up and we see a skunk looking down at us, for example, and we touch our solidity, we practice to be solid like a mountain, we can smile to the skunk. Hello, exactly. We can be fresh like a flower. Because you know, skunks are curious too, and when they see strange men in their forest, lying down, sleeping, they want to come up and find out what's going on. They don't want to hurt anybody.
And if there's a woman sleeping in the forest,
It could have been a woman sleeping in the forest too, that's right. Yeah.
Hello, skunk. Hello, person. Hello, skunk.
Okay, so can we all take our mountain pebble in our right hand? Yeah? Can we reach down? We take our mountain pebble. We sit up beautifully. We put it in our lap. And then we relax our body, relax our shoulders. Bring our attention back to our breath. Breathing in, I see myself as a mountain. Breathing out, I feel solid and stable like the mountain. In, mountain. Out, solid. Okay. We can take our mountain pebble with our left hand, put it on our left side. So I have two pebbles here. What is the first pebble? Flower. And what does it represent? Fresh. Right. The second pebble? Mountain. And what does it represent? Sturdiness. Wow, that's nice. Solidity. Okay, now I take the third pebble. You see it's flat on top. What else is flat? The floor, the ground. But what is the flattest thing that you can see in the earth? When you go into the forest? A lake. Oh, a leaf. You said a leaf. Have you ever seen the surface of a lake when there's no wind?
Yeah, there is one.
Is it very flat?
Yeah, but then there's fishes everywhere.
Yeah, there are some fish in there.
And what about frogs?
And there are frogs, right?
And there's people if they want to dive in and it's really hot.
Right. Okay. So there are frogs and fish. And when the frog jumps in, that makes some ripples. And then what happens after the ripples slowly go away?
It's back to normal.
It's back to normal,
Unless
right?
you stay inside.
So this third stone represents still water. And it is cultivating the quality of calmness, stillness inside. Do you ever feel still inside? Has anyone felt still? You feel still right now. That's wonderful.
I'm in trouble and my mom and I don't know what to say.
When you're in trouble and you don't know what to say, you feel still.
Mostly just that. That happens a lot.
Okay, so when we practice being calm and still like the water, what happens to our mind? Does it also become calm? Yeah? Can we try it? Okay. We hold onto the still water pebble in our lap. We sit up beautifully. We can close our eyes. Breathing in, I see myself as still water. Breathing out, I feel calm, like the water. In, still water. Out, calm. I feel like I'm sitting next to a calm lake. Thank you very much.
I'm not awake. I'm not awake.
What can we see in the water when it's calm?
Ourselves.
We can see ourselves. Very good.
And we can see
Why do we see ourselves?
Reflection.
The reflection. Very good.
Water's like mirror.
Who has seen themselves in their reflection in the water? Yeah.
It moves.
It becomes like a mirror, right? So when we practice to be calm, like the still water, our mind becomes like the mirror, and we see clearly what's happening inside.
Sometimes my face looks all weird when I look in the lake. I don't
Yeah, right. Sometimes when the water is moving, our face looks weird in the lake. And it's the same thing with our mind. When our mind is moving, it's not so easy. When there's many emotions coming up, we cannot see any of them very clearly. But when we practice to calm our mind, we're able to see clearly our sadness, our fear. Even if a skunk is right there in front of us, looking at us, we can see that fear.
So I'm supposed to imagine my mind looking at itself in the mirror?
Yes.
I imagine.
Your mind has the capacity to look at itself. Yeah. So,
Did you finish your story?
we're getting to the end of the story. But we have to practice pebble meditation. We're helping the young man to look at his fear.
Finish the story. What happened to the? What
Yeah.
happened to the?
Okay.
What happened to the part of the story?
Yeah.
Did he die? Did he never see the
Did he get sprayed?
Okay. So the third pebble, we put it down with our left hand next to us. Can we put our third pebble down? Okay. And then we pick up the last pebble.
Is that the
This is a special pebble.
It looks like
Did somebody say space?
Space.
Good job.
No, I said face, not.
So this last pebble is the space pebble. What is space?
It also means like up there, but it also means if someone wants space and they're mad at you.
Right, yeah. It can mean up there, right? In outer space. But it can also mean when somebody is mad at you and you're looking for more space. Does it feel good when you don't have a lot of space? Why doesn't it feel good to not have space?
Because then you get squished.
Because then you get squished. Yeah,
Flies are on
exactly.
it, and it's getting really annoying.
Shh. Would you guys be happy to be a little bit quiet so everybody can hear?
She's tackling me.
Okay. So it's not, we feel squished when we don't have space. But there's a little secret I want to tell you. You have so much space inside. You have infinite space right inside of you.
My belly and my belly.
Yeah, inside your belly,
My belly, like
inside your mind. It feels like there's not much space. But have you ever looked up at the sky laying on the ground
Yeah.
and seen the vastness of the blue sky? How does that make you feel inside?
Tiny.
Really?
Really tiny. Yeah.
Really tiny. Yeah. Do you feel open?
We get it. No worries.
Yeah. When I look at the vast sky, I touch this infinite space inside myself. I feel relaxed, I feel open, I feel like anything can come and I won't be bothered. So when our mind is still and we're practicing to be solid like a mountain, we can touch this infinite space, this openness. Everything can pass through without obstacles. That is the last pebble, space.
Obstacles.
Obstacles, right. There are no obstacles. There's no obstruction. Nothing blocking our way. Okay, so can we practice the fourth pebble? So sit up beautifully. We hold the space pebble. And how do we feel when we're no longer squished, when we have lots of space?
Tiny.
Do we feel like we're not free? Do we feel a prisoner? No, not at all.
Yeah. Big, cute.
Do we feel free?
Definitely feel
We definitely feel free.
tiny compared to the stars.
Okay, so we'll breathe in and out. We close our eyes, breathing in. I see myself as space. Breathing out, I feel free. In, space. Out, free. We can take our last space pebble and put it with our left hand down on our left side. So I have 4 pebbles here. The first one, flower, freshness. Very good. The second one, mountain, solid, or sturdiness. The third one, still water, still, calm. And the fourth one, space and free. Okay, so can we come back to our young man and the skunk?
Yes. What happened to the skunk?
So now he's standing there looking at the skunk, and he comes back to his breathing, and he sees that the skunk is not a big scary animal. It's a beautiful, wonderful animal. And very cute. And he was not very smelly because he didn't spray. Skunks are only smelly when they spray. And he touched his compassion. He said that maybe the skunk is more afraid than I am. See this big man just jump up in front of him like that, living in his woods. Yeah? And so all these things occurred to the young man. So he breathed in and out, and he thought of the Zen master. And he knew the great Zen master always practiced non-fear. That is the mark of a great Zen master. They are free from fear. They practice to be free from fear in every moment. And that freedom from fear allows them to have compassion on the skunks, on young men who want to become monks, on all the children and all the people, even the people who do really mean things, because they're not afraid of them anymore. So in that moment, the Zen master appeared in his mind, because the Zen master was not outside of him. He was inside.
So that guy was the Zen master.
The what?
He was the Zen master.
He was the Zen master. In that moment, that's true. And you can become a Zen master if you know pebble meditation. If you know how to be fresh like a flower. He was able to get in touch with this freshness and see this was not a situation to fear. He was able to get in touch with this solid mountain and stand there solidly and smile to the skunk. He was able to get in touch with the calm water and be at peace. And the last one, what's the last one?
Space.
Infinite space. There's plenty of space for the skunk and for me in this woods, right? So the next time you go into the woods and you see an animal, you can smile and not feel fear, because he did see the Zen master. Where did he see the Zen master?
The skunk was the Zen master.
Maybe the skunk was the Zen master. Yeah. Maybe the skunk was a Zen master. Okay.
Were you the person though?
Maybe I was the person.
But
Yeah.
is it a maybe or no? Is it a yes or no?
Yes.
If he is you were the person.
Okay.
He was the person. He was the person. You're
Okay.
the person?
So thank you very much, dear children.
He was the person. Skunk's Zen master. Why
Okay.
did they bring a skunk to a monk?
So if you want to find the Zen master, I will give you, who would like to have the pebbles? To begin with? Okay.
Because I never had anything from him.
Okay, but this is for the children's program, okay? So please bring it, and you can continue your practice of pebble meditation, okay? All right, so at the small sound of the bell, we'll stand up, and we can bow to each other, okay? Just the children. Okay, we can stand up. Okay, we can bow to one another. And we can turn and we can bow to all the adults. Thank you for creating this space for us. Okay, thank you. Enjoy your day. So we can listen to a sound of the bell, come back to our breath, touch our fresh flower, a solid mountain. Breathing in, I feel joy to be together with the Sangha, with my community of practice. Breathing out, I smile to my joy. So dear respected Thay, dear noble Sangha, thank you for your practice of pebble meditation. It's a joy to be together, to be just sitting here as a Sangha. The Buddha often said that the Sangha is worthy of having people come from far away to see it and to be near it. And that is the kind of Sangha that we have here. That is the kind of energy we are generating. The energy of joy, of happiness, of healing, nourishing. And the energy of non-fear. I'd like to start today by reading you a bit of an article. It's called "The Emptiness of Too Much Leisure." The emptiness of too much leisure. And the subtitle is "Automation and a Shrinking Work Week Bring a Real Threat to All of Us." And I'm just going to quote a few parts of this article. Dr. James C. Charlesworth, president of the American Academy of Political and Social Science, declared that the outstanding fact about leisure in the US today is that it is growing much faster than our capacity to use it wisely. Stay with me. And went on to recommend such revolutionary innovations as the establishment of departments of leisure in all the 50 state governments, and the compulsory teaching of leisure skills in the public schools. Since this last suggestion would turn the traditional 3 R's to 4, reading, writing, arithmetic, and resting, it might have seemed so radical as to produce gasps of astonishment from the audience. Instead, Dr. Charlesworth was immediately challenged from the floor as being hopelessly conservative in his approach. This was a gathering, a conference. Leisure, a challenge to present-day America. An economist named Dr. Marion Clausen announced that in his considered estimate, Americans will have a total of 660 billion more hours of leisure in the year 2000 than in the year 1950. Dr. Clausen said, not 660 million, but 660 billion, a truly staggering figure. He was immediately challenged by another economist who termed the estimate absurdly low and claimed that, in fact, the US faces such an explosive increase in leisure that within a mere 10 years, we may have to keep the unemployed portion of our population under more or less constant sedation, unless we can quickly figure out something better for them to do. As you might have figured out already, this was written in February 14th, 1964. The number of people who are deeply worried about what men are going to do with their spare time now and in the possibly leisure-saturated future has suddenly grown legion. Prominent among the worriers are the nation's psychiatrists, who became interested a number of years ago because of the large number of patients they were acquiring, who seemed to be perfectly all right from Monday through Friday, then went to pieces on the weekends. The patients, mostly earnest young businessmen, felt useful and happy as long as they had their noses to the grindstone. Then, when turned loose without any duties, suffered from unconscious rumblings of guilt and anxiety, which made them restless, jittery, bored, and irritable, personally miserable, and intolerable to their wives and children. One psychiatrist has said, a great majority of our people are not emotionally or psychologically ready for free time. That was 1964, more than 50 years ago. So this talk is about joy and happiness. I'd like to go back and review a little bit from yesterday, what we learned about mindful breathing. So in Plum Village tradition, we have the 16 steps of mindful breathing. And they begin with the 4, which focus on awareness of our body. First of the in and the out breath. Breathing in, I know I'm breathing in. Breathing out, I know I'm breathing out. And then the second one, we follow the in-breath the whole way through. So just like we practice with our walking meditation, we come back to our step and we follow the step all the way through. We don't just have a momentary awareness, but we let it sit back, like we learned yesterday, like sitting, putting our back to the tree and relaxing there in it. That's our concentration. We follow the whole length of the contact our soul makes with the earth. We don't feel any rush to get anywhere. We're fully there with the step. So it's the same with our breath. When we follow the in and the out breath, we're fully present with the in and the out breath. We don't fear having excess free time and not knowing what to do with it. We are fully free in this present moment. That's it. That is the foundation of our practice of non-fear. So already in the first 2 steps, we have the basis of the greatest gift that we can receive. This gift of non-fear. Not fearing what we are going to do with our free time. That article is from 50 years ago, more than 50 years ago. And where is our free time? Where has it gone? That's what I ask myself when I read that question. What are we doing? What am I doing in every moment of my life? Am I living? Am I in fear? Am I running away from my fears about who I might be, who I might become, how I might fail, how I might fail my loved ones, my friends, my ideas of who I want to be, this becoming we learned about yesterday, which creates so much suffering. Just coming back to our in and out breath, we can let go of all of that. In that moment, we are totally free from any idea. And so following the in and out breath allows us to really be aware and to develop our concentration the whole length of the in and out breath, not to allow those moments, those breaks in our consciousness for these feelings of running towards the future or running towards the past to break in, right? When we see that happening, we are aware of it and we don't fear. So this is very important, learning to follow the in and out breath. It is like this pen. In my finger is my attention. So when I become aware of the in-breath entering my nostrils, I begin to be aware of it. And then my finger, my attention follows the whole length of the in-breath. And the same with the out-breath. Breathing out, I'm fully aware of my out-breath. I don't need to think about anything. All my conscious intention is going just to this awareness of my breath. And sometimes our finger comes off. And that's okay. That is fine. One of the first functions of mindfulness we call recognizing. When we notice that our breath has come off when our attention has come off of our breath, we just recognize that this has happened. That means I've gone off in my thinking. And we can embrace that easily, right? We're in a space where we know there's no pressure. There's no one we need to prove ourselves to. Not even ourselves. Because we can be our worst judge of ourselves. Far worse than anyone around us. So we just recognize it, and the second function is to embrace. Our mindfulness embraces the situation. And we practice it with this simple following the breath because it is not so terrible a thing, right? That when our attention goes off of our breath. But when the seed of anger comes up strongly, when we have a perception, it touches our seed of anger, especially when the one who we love the most, the one we care about the most, says something, breaks what we want, our expectations, our idea of happiness. And suddenly that seed of anger can get touched and come up very, very quickly. So when we've trained well, following our in-breath and our out-breath, and coming back to the moments when our breath comes off, our attention comes off of our breath, recognizing and embracing that, accepting it, and then bringing our attention back. We're training ourselves for that moment when we touch that seed of anger strongly. It's like the young man in the story, right? Seeing the skunk. When he has trained himself and accepts when the skunk is there right in front of him, looking down at him, he can just smile to the skunk and embrace the situation. The fear, there's an impulse of fear, but he can recognize and embrace it. We have that capacity. It doesn't mean we are beings that don't feel anything, right? If we come to the practice thinking we have to get rid of our feelings, our unpleasant emotions, then we have a wrong view about the practice. That is like the man sitting there trying to force himself to become enlightened. Right? feeling all the pain in his legs and his whole body just to overcome this painful feeling. And that is a wrong view. When we do that, we only push away our negative feelings, and we're not able to embrace and actually allow them to come in. That is the Dharma. That is seeing the Dharma. That is a great gift, that pain, that unpleasant feeling. It is a great gift when our attention comes off of our breath, because we know it, we recognize it, we see it's happening. That means we're alive, we're living human beings. We're not just a robot breathing in and out automatically. And we touch compassion. That is the source of our compassion. So we practice to have an easy way of practicing. It doesn't mean it's not a real practice. It's very deep, this kind of practice. So we start by recognizing what has happened. Our breath has come off of the marker. And then we practice to embrace. Thank you. And the third function of mindfulness is to soothe or to relieve our difficult emotion. To soothe and relieve. To bring healing. This is why we are here. This is what we are practicing. Yeah. So when our attention comes off of our breath and the in-breath, we recognize it and we smile. We don't get angry at ourselves. We don't judge ourselves. We just recognize, we embrace it, and we bring ourselves back to the practice, breathing in and out. And as we have more capacity to do that, then when that difficult emotion does arise, we know what to do. We've already trained ourselves. We've brought in good habits. We've trained ourselves in a kind of habit that allows us to be a more free person. So that is very important, that second practice, following the in and the out breath. We develop our concentration. And the third and the fourth, experiencing the body. And calming the body. So today I'd like to go a little bit into feelings and our mental formations. When we practice to come back to our body, we practice to calm the body, naturally there arises joy. Because we are taking care, we are recognizing, embracing what's happening in the present moment. So quite naturally, joy arises, it manifests. We actually are creating conditions for joy to be possible. Because everything needs conditions. Just like our sadness is based on conditions. Our anger is based on conditions. And it's not only the condition of our perception, it's how we've taken care of our anger for years. It's our ancestors, our environment, our education. All these things contribute to that moment of anger manifesting. And the same for our joy and our happiness. So by cultivating this attention on the in-breath and the out-breath, bringing our awareness to our body, calming the body, then we naturally have joy arise. So the fifth one is breathing in, I experience joy. I nourish the seed of joy. One time I was with the Sangha in Thailand, and we were at a retreat for young people. And I started to have a pain in my tooth. And I thought, maybe I should take care of that. But I didn't have any what did I use? Oh, hydrogen peroxide. When I was young, my dad taught us to use hydrogen peroxide. We have some kind of tooth problem. So I tried to look and look, but it was very hard to find it. And so that little bit strange feeling in my tooth, it started to go deeper and deeper, and it ended up in the root of my back tooth. And it was terribly painful. And I felt so far away from everything that I knew. I grew up about an hour from here in Connecticut, and here I am on the other side of the planet, in the hot weather, lying on my back with terrible pain in my tooth, unable to almost move because the pain is so great. And I remember Thay's teaching to us about the non-toothache. I got to really practice having the toothache. I laid there, and my brothers took care of me. Sometimes they brought me food, and as many times I felt I could not eat. And I said, Thay, I understand now. I really am going to enjoy not having a toothache. And right now, most of us, probably all of us, don't have toothaches. So why is it so difficult not to touch this joy? We're here in the community of practice, together, supporting one another, breathing in and out, walking mindfully, using loving speech. So we have many, many conditions for joy. And whenever we want to create the conditions for joy, all we need to do is just stop, come back to our breathing, come back to our body and our step. And we create the conditions, we bring about the conditions for joy to manifest. So we have joy and happiness. The Buddha taught that joy is like a man in the desert who's very thirsty, has had nothing to drink in days, and he sees an oasis, a well, a spring. What he feels right away is joy. Joy to know that soon he will quench his thirst. And happiness is what arises the moment that he takes the drink from the well, from the spring. So joy still has some excitement, maybe a little bit of expectation, right? So we're not totally calm, but this happiness is something that pervades every aspect of our body and mind. So joy is a condition for happiness. Cultivating joy helps us to get closer to this happiness. But happiness is really this feeling that pervades all of our body and mind, and it is calming. It's peaceful. We say dwelling happily in the present moment. That is our practice. And it requires ease and just accepting what is. That is the core of it. So the sixth part is experiencing happiness and joy. So I'm probably going to have to leave quite a bit of things to my brothers and sisters in the days to come. We have short time this morning. But I'll just give you a little bit of a taste of the next two steps. The seventh is being aware of our mental formations. Breathing in, I'm aware of my mental formations. We are all formations. This body is a formation. A cloud in the sky is a formation. The trees are a formation. Formations are based on conditions, based on the earth and the sun and the rain, and the seeds. The tree can manifest. So based on our perceptions, our ancestors, our environment, the seed of anger can arise in us, just like the seed of joy. So joy and happiness are also mental formations. And here, in this exercise of mindful breathing, we are specifically thinking about our feelings. All of our emotions are mental formations. But here we're focusing on our feelings, our pleasant feelings, unpleasant feelings, neutral or mixed feelings. So we shine the light of mindfulness on our mental formations, on our feelings. When they arise, we recognize them. So right now, we recognize, what kind of feeling do I have? For example, we're all seated on a cushion, and that might be a neutral feeling. It might be a little bit unpleasant after an hour and a half, right? Depending on whether we've moved or we found a more comfortable position. We just shine the light of mindfulness on that. Mindfulness is like a light, like a lamp, giving us sight into our mind, what is happening there. We recognize a neutral feeling of just sitting, the contact our legs make with the cushion. And we can embrace that feeling. We can practice to continue to shine that light of mindfulness on it. It's like giving it a bath of mindfulness. When we feel hurt, when we feel sad, we can shine that light of mindfulness on our feeling of sadness. Don't run away from it. It is a jewel of the Dharma coming up for you to get insight into this wonder of being alive. How can we run away from it and try to avoid it? Just look at it with a smile. And allow this mindfulness we've been generating here with our mindful step, with our breath, to just bathe, give a bath of mindfulness for the emotion. We practice with more neutral feelings because that is a bit easier. When we have a very strong pleasant feeling or unpleasant feeling, it's a little bit more difficult. It can trigger other kinds of mental formations. And we see that when we embrace our difficult emotion with a bath of mindfulness, that we begin the process of soothing it and relieving it. That's because we understand the conditions that bring it about. This is where our insight comes in. We see that because of this perception, because I said this, because she said that anger suddenly arose. It's in your own mind that it's happening. This is what makes us a free human being. If we don't see this, we are not free. It doesn't matter how many choices we have, how much money, where we are, who we are not free until we're able to see that simple fact. That it is in our own mind that the conditions for these emotions arise. And that is the gift of mindfulness. And that gift is also the gift of non-fear. So I bring it back to the story of the skunk. In the Buddhist tradition, we say the greatest gift that we can give to one another is the gift of non-fear. And our greatest fear is our fear of our own emotions. We had a president, I think, who said, the greatest fear is fear the greatest fear is fear itself. And that is our life. Most of the time, we fear our own emotions. We fear our anger, we fear our jealousy, we fear situations that bring about those emotions because we don't know how to handle a difficult emotion. So the 8th step in mindful breathing is calming. Our mental formation. And with mindfulness, we can do that. We've trained, we know how to do it. We just stop, we recognize this is sadness. We call it by its true name. We don't play tricks on ourselves anymore, blaming other people who we seem to think are the source of our anger, the source of our difficult emotion, our sadness, our fear. We bring that mindfulness back in. We see the conditions for that fear, but also for our freedom are present right here, right now. And we allow that bath of mindfulness to continue to shine on the sadness, on the anger, on the fear. And quite naturally, we'll see it become less. Yeah? It starts to go back down into our consciousness. Yeah? So that is the practice of, and the function of mindfulness. To recognize, embrace, soothe, and relieve. So today, as we are walking, as we are eating our lunch, we can bring attention to our feelings. The sensation of putting the food in our mouth, or the sensation of our soul on the earth, the sole of our feet on the earth. Just be aware of it. Don't add any quality to it. Don't add the quality, this is good for me, this is bad for me. Just bring attention to it. And notice the transformation that happens. Because it does change. Our attention, our mindfulness changes its object. We see that the subject and object are not separated. They're all one. And that is true in neurology too. They know in our cortex that there are only clusters of neurons which fire as representations for other clusters of neurons. So this whole idea of subject and object is just our imagination. It's the way we function in the world. This is not abstract theory. This is actual practice of what scientists have already discovered today. So we let our mind and our body become one with mindfulness. And I hope that if you feel inspired by what you've seen here in our retreat and your own practice, that you feel inspired also to help us to share this with more people, especially children, like we did today with the pebble meditation, because it's so important. We feel deeply, and our teacher Thay feels deeply, that this kind of practice should be available for children in schools. We learn math, we learn physics, we learn literature, but we don't learn how to take care of a difficult emotion, our sadness, our anger, our fear. And this is fundamental to being a human being. This is not religion. This is being a human being, no matter what faith you're from or no faith. So we have this Wake Up Schools, which is a movement to bring this kind of practice into schools. And we'll be meeting tomorrow afternoon, I think in the dining hall here in Blue Cliff. So if you'd like to help us, support us to find the ways that we can do this together, so we can share it with all the next generation and the generation that follow. This is maybe the most important work that we do in our lives. And we start with ourselves and we bring it outward. So thank you very much for listening, and I wish you well in your practice of taking a bath of mindfulness.